The importance of the Mātikā to the student of Abhidhamma is the same as that of a plan to the engineer who must consult it at every step in the process of his construction. Now we are going to discuss Dhammasaṅgaṇi. Dhammasaṅgaṇi is the first book of Abhidhamma Pitaka. The term Dhammasaṅgaṇi means enumeration of the Dhamma. The Dhamma refers to principles of Abhidhamma, which are Chit, Chetsik, Roop and Nibbān. The word Saṅgaṇi means Sanganana, Sanganarika. Therefore, the book Dhammasaṅgaṇi is entirely devoted in enumerating, explaining and evaluating the four reals of Abhidhamma in various ways. Light has been thrown on these reals with a number of vision of angles to explain the truth. The book starts with the Mātikā, establishing 102 Abhidhamma Mātikā, 22 Tikka and 100 Dukkha and 42 Sutanta Mātikās. These 42 Sutanta Mātikās appear to be later addition. First, because they properly belong to the Sutanta method of treatment. Secondly, that the last section of the Abhidhamma Mātikā is called Piṭṭhi Dukkha, the last set or supplementary set of pairs, a name which indicates that at one time it formed the last section of the text. And thirdly, because the fourth chapter of the book, the Achyudvar Kand, which even tradition admits to be a later addition, gives no explanation of the same. There are four chapters, Kand, in the Dhammasaṅgaṇi, namely Chittupad Kand, Rupa Kand, Nikhepa Kand and Achyudvar Kand. The first chapter, Chittupad Kand, has been treated with minute details. The two Dhammas, Chit and Chetsik. First of all, it has been pointed out that there are 121 types of consciousness. The different types of consciousness given here are, first of all, classified into three main groups, namely Kusala, Akusala and Abhyakata. The Kusala Chit is further divided into Kamavachar, Rupavachar, Arupavachar and Lokuttar Chit. The Akusala Chittas are 12, divided into 8 Lobha, 2 Dosa and 2 Moha. The Abhyakat Chittas are divided into two classes of Vipak and Kriya. The Vipak Chittas further divided into Kusala and Akusala. Each of them arises on an object. Wherever there arises a consciousness, there also arises a number of psychic factors with it. It has been displayed in detail. After explaining the first two reals in the first chapter of the text Dhammasaṅgaṇi, there is the treatment of the third real, namely Roop, in the second chapter, Roop Kand. It is entirely devoted in explaining the Roop, 4 Mahabhut and 23 Upadas. At the outset, there is the Mātikā, which divides Roop into 11 groups, arranged according to the numbers from 1 to 11 in ascending order. Then follows the Nirdesh, divided into the same 11 groups. The third chapter proceeds treatment of all the four reals together. It gives a brief explanation of the whole of the Mātikā. It is interesting to compare the explanation of the several terms given in the division with that given in the earlier chapters. Moreover, there are 42 Sutanta Mātikā which have raised 84 questions throwing light on the nature of the Dhammas. In that thinks that the Nikhepakanda was composed first, but P.V. Bapat suggests that it was composed later. The fourth chapter is Athudwar Kand, which explains the knotty points in the treatment of the Dhammas. As the commentary states that this chapter was the latest edition, the explanation given here is still briefer, and we find new term like Nibbana for Asankhat Dhatu of the Nikhepakanda. Now we are going to discuss meaning and justification of the title of Dhammasaṅgaṇi. As far as justification of the title is concerned, it may be examined on the basis of the contents. The Dhammasaṅgaṇi proceeds with the establishment of the Mātikā. There is no mention in the beginning that what the subjects of the Dhammasaṅgaṇi are. The subject matter has left untold with a view to raise inquisitiveness for knowing them, just starting the Mātikās established therein. As the text starts, a natural question as what for Mātikā? For the sake of giving rise to such inquisitiveness, there is no mention of reals in the beginning of the text. With this background, one should know that there are four reals of Abhidhamma, namely Chitta, Chetasik, Roop and Nibbana. When the Buddha has raised this inquisitiveness, then the second question arises as to how they will be understood. With a view to answer this question, there is the establishment of the 22 Tik Mātikā and 100 Dukh Mātikā, containing as many as 266 angles of vision to examine the four reals. The answer does not end here, but it goes further by establishing 42 types of Sutant Mātikās, enumerating thereby 84 types of angles for making examination of these reals. It is for this reason there is a justification of the Mātikā in unfolding in as many as questions to throw light on the nature of the reality. Then there is another question: when there is suffering with a man, what is the form of suffering? Where does suffering die? Where does it manifest, and how its eradication is possible? As answer to this question, it has been stated that there are 121 types of consciousness, immoral, moral and resultant and inoperative, and there is a practical application suggestive in its nature of arising each type of consciousness in the Chittupad Kanda of Dhammasaṅgaṇi.